Welcome to Extracurricular. I am your co-host, Eddie Geller.
And I am your other co-host, Stephanie Vanos, Orange County School Board member, here today as I am always, unofficially.
Perfect. Nailed it. I just reflecting on my own intro, I feel like I'm a wannabe newscaster. Like
I do too, honestly.
Okay. Well, I want just so folks realize, like, I did the news when I was in high school. We had a morning news show. It was called UPC, Upper Pinellas County. And I was a news anchor for, I think, my junior and senior year. Now, news in quotation marks, this was school news, like when the assemblies are, how the lunch schedules have changed, et cetera, et cetera. And I've seen video of it. And have I shown you video?
I have too seen videos of it.
I was not very good.
You were very cute. And I do wonder what led you away from doing news reporting.
Well, I don't think I ever really wanted to be a newscaster. And one of the things I did when I was in TV classes, I made sketches for the morning news, because they would be like, here's a report from Eddie Geller, and it would be like, comedy sketches. So that was really like my improv, like wanting to be on SNL days. So that's where I like sort of honed that skill.
I love it. Look at all the great things that happen in our public schools.
Well, it's funny. We were just talking about this last night, that now in my professional life, I'm an editor, video producer, et cetera, et cetera. And those skills are really skills that I built in high school. I went to college and I got an English degree, and I did a lot of improv, incredibly impactful in my life, the improv part. But really, like, my career is based off skills I learned in high school.
I love it.
What skills did you learn in high school? You were a gymnast, but you're not a professional gymnast.
I am not a professional gymnast, nor am I a professional cheerleader, though I do like to be an encourager.
You are cheerful.
It's interesting, actually, when I think back, my strengths in high school were actually in math. And I don't know what happened, but then college came and suddenly math went from like very easy for me to very not easy anymore. And it really spent college like developing my writing and just more like English related skills, like English language skills. So yeah.
Well, you're a great talker and a great writer. You're not someone I rely on to do math equations.
Well, calculus does often come into everyday life. So, very important.
Shouts to all our math nerds and mathematicians listening to this podcast. We couldn't have this society without you.
You're some of my favorite people, to be honest.
Yeah. So we appreciate you. We also appreciate our listeners. And if you're listening for the first time, please do consider subscribing to the podcast. I'm getting ahead of myself. And rating us. Steph, what should they rate us?
5 stars only.
Okay. So beautiful. It's music to my ears. We need to just like cut that and put it on Spotify. I bet it would have like 1 billion streams.
Oh my gosh, I don't know about that.
Okay. Also, this is our last pod of the year. We're going to take, I think, 2-week break. Does that sound right? I'm just making this on the fly. Yeah. That's what we're going to do. So we'll be back in 2026, and we're going to do like a little bit of a fun show, somewhat of a year in review-ish. We're going to do Rosebud Thorn, and also throw in a curveball that is confession. So for folks who don't know, Rosebud Thorn is, I think, often like a businessy exercise. Does that sound right?
I don't know. We've done it around our dinner table too, before, with the girls. What was your rose of the day? What happened today that was really good? What was your thorn? What was kind of a bad thing that happened? And then, Bud, what are you looking forward to? Yeah.
So we're going to do that for 2025. And then, just because we want to keep things spicy, I said, let's throw in a confession, something that we have maybe not confessed to the other person. Hopefully like relatively mild, unless you've got something locked and loaded that's a little more serious, and then maybe we might have to pause the podcast to talk about it. But we thought that would be fun and a good way to review, all the things we've discussed and some of the things we haven't.
Yeah, let's have some fun.
Okay, but before we get to kind of the fun year in review stuff, not to take things to a more serious turn, but let's take a real turn. You did have some business this week, which I want to give you a minute to sort of talk about, because OCPS made the decision to close some schools, and that is very tough for folks, tough for students, members of the community, parents, etc. And this is hurtful for folks, and I just want to give you a chance to kind of talk about it, like what that means, why these decisions happen. So I'll let you have it.
It was a really tough week. On Tuesday, we had it was a work session, so no votes were taken, but we did have a really honest and frank conversation about some of our schools and sort of the need to move forward with looking at what rezoning would look like, what school consolidation would look like for 7 of our elementary schools. And it was tough. And I know, I'm a mom of 3 daughters who, we loved our elementary school. So I know how important those schools are and the bonds that are formed with the parents and teachers and students and administrators. And I also know that, because of a variety of factors, declining birth rates, honestly, housing affordability, some of our neighborhoods have older residents now that don't have children entering the public school system anymore. And unfortunately, because of, just affordability within, the property, just with housing, a lot of these families can't move out. And so we don't have new families coming in to start school. And so we've got declining birth rates. We've got some older neighborhoods and families because of some of the immigration laws that were passed this year and sort of the emboldening of ICE. We have a lot of our immigrant families they're not coming to school, they've left the area. And then, of course, the taxpayer-funded voucher program has resulted in some of our newer families that really have never even been in our public school are deciding to try the voucher and kind of try that system out for some period of time. Who knows how long. And of course, charter schools too have had a smaller but an impact on some of our students' choices. And so, so we're at a place now where there are schools that are, really under capacity, 60% capacity, and just not financially sustainable to keep all of them operating anymore. It really would not be a fair use of our taxpayer resources to do that. And it wouldn't be fair to the students because the district would have to start cutting programs and services and resources for the students that were in those under-enrolled schools. So really, it's a tough situation. No one wants to be in it. Again, I'm always looking for how our students going to be in the best possible position. And I cannot justify cutting services and programs and opportunities for students for the sole reason of keeping that school open, particularly when we can move most of the students together to another neighboring school. And hopefully a lot of the employees will also be moved. We believe there will be places for all of them. So, but not fun.
Yeah, that is not easy. And I think there's definitely a lot of parts of your job where it can be really things more cut and dry. And but this is like truly tough choices that you're having to make, and you're really having to weigh things that neither decision is gonna be a win for everyone. And this is definitely a decision that folks are going to be hurt by, and it's going to be tough for people. But you explained your decision well, and so thank you for talking us through it.
Yeah, of course. And if people have questions, they can always reach out. And we also had a conversation about how we are best going to use space. And also in some of our other schools that are under-enrolled, but maybe not to the extent that these 7 schools are, how we are going to communicate that to families and schools earlier so that they can help, recruit some of their families and help us kind of make that decision. So I think it has resulted in, it will result in more communication, and I think more direct and clear communication to families and schools, which is a good thing.
Yeah. Okay, I'm trying to just kind of let that land. I had a work review this past week, and one of the notes I got in my review was Eddie sometimes uses humor in serious situations, so I'm going to avoid doing that and just keep a straight face. How am I doing?
Well, it's weird. You're the one that adds humor to everything. So I'm but it is tough. It's a tough, and it's, I think, something that we're gonna have to work through as a community. But I will say separately, I appreciate your humor in tough situations, and I find myself I do resort to that sometimes too.
Okay, well, can you send an email to my boss and sort of push back on that point in my review?
I'm sure she would very much appreciate that.
I think that is not weird at all when you have your girlfriend, fight for you
100%.
in your work review. Okay, one other thing I did want to talk about, which is not necessarily as serious, but still serious, but also strange. Anyway, I'm going to stop just contextualizing it, and I want you. Sorry to keep putting it back on you, but you're you're the school board member here unofficially. Parents. School districts got a letter from the State Board of Education, very engaged, as we like to say. Talk about this letter and what was in it.
Yeah, so I'll just say, so the Commissioner of Education sent a letter to all students, but this was sent to public school students, and in some ways the letter was great. Like it, just kind of wished everyone a restful holiday, encouraged parents to practice some skills with students, gave some links where parents can access resources. So appreciate that. That was great. But it also did have a quote from the Bible in it, which I found strange to have sent from a government entity to public school students.
Yeah, I'm not wild about that. Like, for folks who hold their faith closely to them, that is truly wonderful. I say that like with a full heart. I don't think it belongs in a letter sent to school districts from an official government office, from the State Board of Education. So I think this is very strange. And of course, as a Jew, to see Proverbs quoted, I mean, and I'm actually going to talk about this a little bit later when we go through in our Rosebud Thorn. It is sending this signal that like we are Christians, like, I mean, having air quotes here, like we are a Christian state, and these are the rules and the Bible is what we abide by. It is just like, it is off-putting, and I don't think that is the spirit of, or the law of, that we should be following here in the state of Florida or in the United States of America.
Well, and I have concerns we think about it from a First Amendment perspective. I mean, obviously the First Amendment doesn't seem to be a high priority for some people in this state, but I mean, yeah, like we have an establishment clause, like for a reason. We do not want a national religion in our country. We do not want to, endorse one religion or another. And I think when you quote something from the Bible, it is sort of endorsing one religion over another.
Right.
And if I think he could have included the sentiment maybe that he wanted to include without having that quote. And I think that's probably a better place to land.
Well, I think including a quote from Proverbs was very purposeful in what they were trying to communicate. And I just like the idea of sending something out and then quoting the Quran would probably cause a bit of a stir. So, yeah.
I think it'd be very interesting, actually, if a principal did that, sent out a letter quoting the Quran after this in particular, and just sort of seeing what happens.
Well, I am not a principal, but I do love to stir the pot. And if I was a principal, I would happily do it, but I am not. So maybe when you email my manager, perhaps you could quote the Quran for reasons why I should be able to use humor more in my work situations.
Well, maybe you're too funny to be a principal.
I'm sure there are principals in OCPS and around the state and country who are very funny. And in fact, I think like having a sense of humor is probably incredibly important to like being a good leader and leading a school.
Totally agree. Actually, I'm not sure that you could make it through being a principal without having a good sense of humor. And I know many who are funny and have that. So,
speaking of principals, I just want to mention we saw one of your principals. Well, I don't want to call them your principals. One of the OCPS principals and good friend of ours, Hector, who was out at a gathering this weekend, and I just want to shout out to him. Hector helped me acquire a Switch 2 and he's a friend. So Hector, if you're listening, appreciate you. And Forrest, got to meet you this weekend. Appreciated meeting you as well. And I hope you're having a great time at Epcot.
They're just lovely people.
They are wonderful people. Okay. Should we get into this?
Let's do it.
Okay. I'll start. And we're going to kind of go, we have a couple for each. We'll kind of go and we'll just kind of go back and forth on these in any order. But I want to start with a positive because we start with a couple of tough things today. So my rose for 2025, this is going to surprise no one, is just seeing you in your first year as a school board member. And just what an incredible job you've done. I was talking yesterday to a former school board member who was at this gathering, and we were talking about you and just what a reputation you're already building in 1 year for being so smart and so engaging, but also tenacious and asking thoughtful questions, whether it's fighting against vouchers, talking about schools of hope and sounding the alarm on that, or book bans. You've just had, I think, an incredible rookie season. And so just so proud of you. And it's wonderful seeing you do your thing and be great from it off the bat, which is no surprise. Like, I knew you were going to be great, and all the folks who elected you knew you were going to be great. So how's it feel 1 year in?
Oh, that's so sweet. I see. I need to write something beautiful about you too. No, it feels so. Thank you for saying that. I appreciate that. I've learned a lot in the last year, and I have plenty more to learn. So I know that. But it's been truly an honor to serve. I appreciate when people tell me, when you say things, you're speaking for so many parents, and we appreciate you. Like, we're watching, and we're like, yes, like, thank you for saying that. And so, yeah, I think the number one thing is just that I have learned that I have a lot more to learn. It's an honor to serve, and just continue to try to do better every day.
Well, that is a wonderful response. And I know, totally genuine. Also a little bit of like in the locker room after like winning the World Series or winning a game, even response, like team effort, everyone did great. I know that I'm working on my game, got to get better. And just like with the team, I'm giving you a little bit of a hard time, but just to say that you're incredibly generous and have a lot of humility. I'm not trying to just keep complimenting you, but I think...
as the girls would say, glazing.
Glazing? Oh my God, am I glazing you? I'm so self-conscious.
Well, and I also want to say a lot of the reason that I have been able to communicate and have effective communication is because of your help. I mean, really because of you helping with videos, and that is, and just helping me to think through how to communicate certain things. Really appreciate just working with you. It's fun. And I think that, I know I couldn't do without you. So thank you.
Thank you. Well, it's a team effort. I have a lot to learn. Excited to do more. No, it's an honor. It's an honor to get to do this stuff with you and to help communicate your message. Well, what do you feel like? Let's hold on this for maybe just another few seconds. Like, I don't know, thinking about this past year, I don't know, what is something that you're reflecting on, or because you have, I'm of course here to talk about your wins and the things that that you've shined at. Like, what are you thinking about? Like, oh, that is the thing I really want to be working harder on in 2026.
Yeah, I think it's really, and I've done a town hall. I've done a lot of casual meetups with people, but I really think it is, I think one thing I really want to focus on in this next year is really going out into, just like creating more community spaces for feedback from different types of stakeholders. I think is really like top of my list. I feel like I've done that in smaller ways, and I've tried to hit all of the different parts of my district, but I think really kind of focusing on that piece. And I have some ideas. I met with a former school board member last week. We had a great lunch, and she kind of got my brain, kind of got the wheels turning of some things I can do. So I think, I'm really looking forward to doing that too.
Oh, I love that. Is that going to involve more filming and editing for me?
Do you want more filming and editing?
I love filming and editing for you. Wonderful. So I'm happy for more work. Okay, your turn. What do you got?
Okay, should I start with a rose?
Whatever makes you feel great.
Okay. Well, I'll start. So I have roses, and not all of them are school related, but I will say one of the school related roses for me is Judge Mendoza's order, which came out in August, and his order had to do with some books that had been basically removed by the state, and the order was just. It's just like such a reflection of like going back to common sense. Him just saying, these books, they are not obscene.
Yeah.
Like, these books are not harmful to minors. And also a reminder that when we are evaluating books, there are actual laws that we have to follow.
Yeah.
And we don't just remove books because they make us uncomfortable or we don't like them or they have a paragraph that's kind of spicy. We actually have to look at books as a whole and review them. And just what a beautiful order it was, and just really appreciate that. So that was a rose for me.
Well, I mean, it's... we were going through it. I say we, you, the school board, et cetera, on these book bans, and just feeling like taking L after L of books being pulled off the shelf. And honestly, the procedure that OCPS had been set up being kind of circumvented, that books were supposed to be reviewed, and it's this very thoughtful process. And then all of a sudden books were just being pulled. I know how much that upset you. It upset me, many parents and community members. And so sometimes I think this is a lot of America in 2025, like losing grasp on, to your point, like what feels like common sense, what feels like reality. And I think this is actually, I think this is a story that has repeated itself throughout the United States that this year, that like, as we are losing reality, in fact, a lot of judges in the courts, not the Supreme Court, boo, but a lot of courts have brought us back to reality and to say, this is the law, this is what we're following, and this is what needs to be done. Now, granted, that is not every court, it is not every ruling, far from it, but I think a lot of courts in 2025, the judicial system has been the check that we haven't seen from larger organizations, universities, corporations. And again, I'm like a little bit conflating some national issues, but I think it is emblematic that the courts a lot of times have been like, no, this is reality and we're planting our flag and this is what the law says and we need to follow the law. Now, will Judge Mendoza's ruling hold and will we see an ultimately positive outcome? That is hard to say. But it was good to see, and you got to take, if we're going to take a lot of L's, we should appreciate the W's when we get them. My head is really in sports mode, apparently.
I know. Yeah, just huge shout out to Judge Mendoza. And I think also the piece too, really his protection of local control and him specifically, saying that, yeah, school boards have the power to interpret these statutes and these rules as it relates to the school district. And I think that was a really important piece that maybe not everyone kind of appreciated. But yeah, anyway, great order. Thank you, Judge Mendoza. Appreciate your common sense and going by the law ruling.
And last thing, so we kind of don't know what's next, and you kind of can't talk about it?
I cannot. No, I cannot.
Okay, well, maybe there's someone out there I can interview when you're not around, and we can, theorize more. Okay,
so what are you going to give me? Give me a thorn.
Okay, you want a thorn? All right, this is. I'm gonna do a fun one.
Okay.
Because we need a little bit of fun. Thorn in 2025. Your stubborn refusal to get a puppy because you and I both look at a lot of dog TikToks. They're wonderful. We see dogs in real life. We saw a puppy today that was so cute. Like, let's just get a puppy. Like, let's just do it. Like, what are we waiting for here? Like, come on.
Have you been talking to my girls about this? I feel ganged up on.
What have you been hearing from the girls?
Well, I mean, puppies are cute. Of course they're cute. Everybody loves a puppy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but there's, they're dogs. There's a lot of responsibility and, there's a lot to it.
Okay, well...
Are you going to get up early to take the dog out and take the puppy out in the morning?
Well, I'm quite a morning person.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you do like to say that you are. That's true.
I don't know. I just think it's something you should think about. Dogs, man's and woman's best friend. It's something worth considering. Let's turn a thorn into a bud.
Wow, let's turn a thorn into a. I've had dogs, and I truly like some of the best dogs. Like love the pets that I've had over the years. And have you had a dog ever?
Okay,
Fair question.
Wow, just coming at your boy. When I was young, we had one dog. We got the dog, and I insisted that the dog's name would be Sparkle.
Wow. I love it.
So, but Sparkle did not, I don't remember where we acquired Sparkle. And I can't believe I'm putting this on public record, but like Sparkle was like, remember like bit people. Sparkle, not the most well-behaved and was not like a cute puppy. And then Sparkle was just like out of my life. And some of the details, like Sparkle did not pass away, though I don't think Sparkle is like probably still around. Like, I mean, maybe I was like 6 or 7 when we had Sparkle, but I remember Sparkle did not last long. So Sparkle might've been like given back, or, maybe it was, some sort of like attempted foster situation. But, I think like as I've mentioned on this podcast, always trying to heal the wounds of my youth. And maybe that is my desire for a puppy, popping up here.
Well, it's interesting because when you're 6 or 7, you're probably not doing any of the cleaning up in the house, the taking out of the dog, the feeding the dog, the responsibility for vet appointments. I'm just a mean old mom here.
No, that is not true. You have had dogs, and I've had the pleasure of meeting one of your former dogs. And And you like in your, I love seeing you with pups. Like you really like, you have a lot of affection for them. And I'm really trying to leverage this public platform to say, let's get a dog.
Well, it's not going to work. But okay. All right. Should I go next?
Yeah, let's go for it.
Okay. See, I feel like I can't go to one of my more serious ones, but
we can make a pivot.
Okay. Well, I'm going to go with one of my thorns, which is serious, which and it really has been in the past year, just this embodiment of ICE and the removal of the protected areas last January. And first of all, just for the impact it's having on people in our community, people that I know in our community. And also I see the impact that the direct impact it's having on our schools, which then impacts even more people in our community. It's awful. I hate that our neighbors are living in fear. I hate that some of our neighbors have left. I hate everything about it. And I think these are good people doing great things in our community, and they're just being scared, and they're being targeted, and they're being just bullied, and it's awful.
It's hard to say more about this subject that has already been said and been written about, but I think, it is sadly tough competition for the worst thing to come out of the Trump administration in 2025. But I think the emboldenment and expansion of ICE is like up there with the worst of what's been going on. I think to your point, like both the actual abducting of people and kidnapping of people, and the harm on those individuals and their families, and the fear that it creates in the communities, they are both incredibly harmful. And it is not this America that I think we want to be, and there are folks on the right and in this country who are championing this and will say, this is what I voted for. And I think that's truly disgusting. But I think there's a large part of this administration, and I'm going to talk about this in a little bit, who, want a white nation, who want a white Christian nationalist nation. I think this is part of this project. And, you already hit the nail on the head. Like, so many of these people, like they say they're abducting criminals, which is of course an obfuscation what they're trying to do, which is just like get brown people and immigrants out of this country. Like, sure, if people have committed crimes, like let the regular immigration platform do its job. But this is really about like fear and intimidation, and again, the whitening of this nation, and like talking like the lies they tell, whether about it's the Somali community and the disgusting things that Trump has said about that community, or the lies they make up about like housing prices are high because of immigrants. Like what incredible bullshit. I mean, it is so nasty. And not to mention like the immigrants that they are deporting to be tortured and to taken to places and given inhumane treatment. I mean, I think any way you look at this, it is truly awful. And I'm hopeful that when the page turns, we are able to return to a more sane immigration policy. But the damage that has been done and the reputation to America will last for a long time. And for the individuals and the families, the people that have been deported, like their lives are forever changed. And it is absolutely heartbreaking to watch. So I'm glad you brought that one up.
Yeah, that is a tough one, but I felt like we could not make it through this podcast without bringing that up from this year.
Absolutely. And you know what? People can tell we're doing this off the fly, that we transitioned from puppies to ICE. But I think, we're handling it well. Okay. So speaking of handling it well, I want to give another rose.
Okay.
And I do have a more serious thorn one, but I'll get back to that. But I mean, I can't not say it. I'm very proud that we started this podcast, and I love it. I love doing this project with you. I love the incredible people that we've gotten to talk to. And this is a project that has, I think brought us closer together, except when I accuse you of not letting us get a puppy. And I think like it is very gratifying to hear people's reaction to us. We're still, just a couple of, podcasters doing our best. We're not on the top of any iTunes list, but I am so grateful for our listeners and grateful that, you know, it continues to grow and continues to blossom. And when people say nice things, it is really wonderful to hear. So I don't know, I've really loved this project.
I have too. And thank you for making it possible, like taking an idea and saying, yes, we can do it. And here's how we're going to go about it, and kind of figuring out the nuts and bolts. And then just your ability to always keep us going and asking good questions. You ask the best questions. I love it too. And I will say this week I was out running one morning, and I was running by someone. She was walking her daughter to school, and she's like, "Hey, I love the pod." It was very sweet. And then I also heard there's an international student. She's studying in China right now, and she says that she listens to the pod to kind of keep up on local news. So that was really awesome to hear. And also the pod was my rosebud. Was just kind of bud. One of my bud. Yeah, not a rosebud. Bud. Was just really being excited about what the new year looks like. And I think we've figured out some of the technical pieces this year, and just really looking forward to having more conversations and talking to more interesting people and just learning more. I always learn so much. So I'm really looking forward to that.
Do you have, I'm going to put you on the spot here, and I don't want to say that any episodes were better than others, but when you think about episodes that you thought were powerful or meaningful in some way, shape, or form, and again, to emphasize, not necessarily our best episode, but one that you think of and you're like, oh, that, I still kind of think about that one and really enjoy it. Any of those episodes come into your mind?
There were a lot of really good ones. I think I really enjoyed talking with the students.
That was really fun. And Brady and Hope. Yeah.
And I think a lot of the things that they said, I still think about. I think about all the time. I think about when we're talking about policy, when I'm up on the dais, I'm thinking about some of those conversations. And there's just something that is so much more personal about an experience in school, like when you're talking to someone who is actually in it.
Yeah.
So that was one of my favorites. What about you?
Well, I love that one and love that conversation. I'm actually going to go with our conversation with Daryl Parrott, which was a bit of a left turn for the pod. This was the man who lost his son and was fighting to get laws changed on the books about how you can sue hospitals in the event of a negligent death, of malpractice. And it was a tough episode for folks, like one of our least downloaded episodes, I think. And it was a tough, in a lot of ways, a tough interview. And I think if you listen to it, a tough listen. But I think my heart goes out to Daryl, but like an incredible amount of admiration that in the toughest of times, the toughest events, like he is going to fight, and he is finding, like, he is a man who put up a billboard calling out DeSantis, about, and his website, freekaleflorida.org. Like I just love a fighter and someone who, and I'm just getting teared up just thinking about him, like, who has taken the worst of times and said, like, no, like, change is possible, and I'm going to keep fighting for it, and I'm going to fight for his memory. That was like, it was so heartbreaking and so beautiful. And I think to experience that kind of humanity, and for him to be vulnerable and talk about it, was like an incredible, powerful experience. I know it was tough for you. So I don't know, I'm sorry to be so, like, a little serious, but that was incredible. And I think about it a lot.
Yeah, that was a really good one. I mean, there were a lot of good ones, but he did, just him being able to share that. And also kudos to you, because I don't know if we shared that at the time, but I had a cousin who actually passed in the same way as his son. And so I had to step away during the interview and sort of had a little breakdown in the corner, trying to be as quiet as possible. But you really had to pick that one up and continue it. And I think it was meaningful to me too, because of, obviously my own experience, but also knowing how important it was to my cousin's family to get that information from the hospital, and to understand what happened, and to, just have some type of closure of understanding, what really happened, that he just doesn't have access to any of that. And it's really difficult.
Well, you and I actually were listening to a podcast just yesterday, kind of talking about how we quote unquote persuade folks in a political democracy sense. And like, whether like, political ads that said this person does this, or vote because you believe in immigrants or healthcare, and how, like, just in general, how hard it is to persuade people. And we know this from our real life, that no matter how many articles we send people or, ads they see, it can be really hard to get people to change their mind. In fact, people dig their heels in a lot. And then, which is where I'm going to, is that, like, the way to change people's minds comes through identity And a lot of the like alterations in identity go through like emotional experiences, like powerful emotional experiences. They use the example of, when you join the army, you go through however many weeks of hell in boot camp to sort of strip you down and kind of change who you are, which is all to say, like, well, side note, persuasion is really hard. It's really hard to change people's minds. But, like when we are getting to people's emotion, finding ways to get to people's emotional core is really important when we're talking about the issues that we care about. And so I think to be Daryl and being like, this is my story, it is really tough to hear. And it was like impossible to go through. I think is, part of changing people's minds to be like, this is what these policies mean. This is who this hurts. This is who is, paying the price for these policies, and getting to that emotional core, I think is really, really important in making change. So that's why another reason why I just thought his interview really like spoke to me and still stays with me.
Beautifully said.
Oh, thank you so much. Okay. All right. It's time we do this. Transitioning again. It's time we go to a confession. This is what people have been waiting for 35-ish minutes into the podcast. Like, when are they going to actually confess something? All right. So I'm going to admit this to you. Okay. When we have dinner sometimes, and one of your favorite meals, a salad, right?
Yeah.
You love a salad.
I want to say it's a good hearty salad, though. It's not a wimpy salad.
No, it's not a wimpy salad.
Okay.
Can you reveal kind of one of the things you put in your salad?
Yeah, well, I usually do the pre-mixed, pre-chopped, like the sunflower crunch is my favorite. So I do that, and I add in usually tomato and pepper, chop those up, and then I'll add in like half of an avocado. I air fry some tofu, or if I have like leftover meat, like chicken or something, I'll chop that up in there. So I'll do a good part of that, and then you put in the crunchies, but not all the crunchies, because I like to save some of the crunchies. Like, one packet is like too much for one serving.
Too much crunch.
So I put in like half of that, and then I save the rest, which now I have a huge bag in my refrigerator of like half-used crunchy
Okay,
things.
well, that's another confession about your huge bag of crunchies in your fridge.
And then I mix in dressing, which I mix up all the time. Sometimes it's like that Bolthouse Ranch. Sometimes it's the ginger dressing. I rarely use the one they give me because those are just gross. But and then I mix in sriracha and then the chili crisp, which are two additions that you have me on that are so good. So it's a good solid salad.
So when you say have me on, it makes it sound like I'm trying to give you some sort of specific
No,
diet.
I mean you introduced me to them, to the mixing and getting that spicy punch in there, which I really appreciate.
Oh, well, you're a spicy human being and you deserve a salad as equally as spicy. Okay. So how like a few times, like, you've come to the table, we're about to have dinner, and you are like, you're low maintenance. You eat salad. You're like, you mix the salad, you eat the salad from the bowl, right? Okay.
I know where this is going.
Okay. You know how like I've been like, no, let's get you a proper bowl for this. You shouldn't have to eat salad out of your metal bowl, right? The truth is that when you eat that salad out of the metal bowl, I cannot stand the sound that it makes when your fork is scraping on the bowl. And so I just have been like getting you to eat out of a regular bowl or a plate because I can't stand that sound. I'm sorry.
I don't know why you like dirty dishes. I mean, you can make everything in one dish, like clean up. There's no extra dishes. It's just like eat it out of there. But yeah, I've noticed you asking me, hey, are you sure you don't want a nice bowl? I'm like, no, I don't need one. I'm good. You're like, no, it's about me. Now I know it's about you. Okay.
How do you feel? Do you feel like things in our relationship have changed now that you know this?
I just don't know why I have to get another dish dirty.
I will clean them. I will happily clean them and have cleaned them.
Okay. Well, you know what I will say? It's a small price to pay to aid to your dinner enjoyment. Because I notice for me, like, I just want to eat. And you're like, let's turn the lights down. Like, let's clean the table. Hold on, let me put the napkin. Let me fold the napkin here. It was just very sweet. And I actually like it and appreciate that. So I understand that this is part of your overall,
Well, I like a vibe. You know,
like a vibe, yeah.
And I want us to be in the vibes pocket, That's
very important to be in the vibes pocket.
The vibes pocket we need to bring the vibes pocket back because it is really important.
I love it. Okay, can I get to a confession now?
Yeah,
please. Can I? Okay.
Yeah, okay. Okay, and now I'm so scared. Even that breath.
I just don't why do people back in? I don't like it. Like, I don't understand it, and I'm annoyed by it. Like, can you just like pull in and park like a normal person? I'm not saying you. Now I'm like broadening this out to like humanity generally. Like, when people back into spots, I just want to be like, no, just why? I don't get it.
Okay, well, I think like a couple things. I'm sorry, I'm processing in real time as someone who loves to back into. I don't. Okay, let me say a couple things.
You do though.
No, I don't like. Not at a like. Not. I'm not in the Target parking lot backing into a spot.
Though I feel like you could if you would fit.
I would like maybe if there was no cars there, I would do it. I do like to back into like backing into a home parking spot at your last place. You had a small parking lot in your condo complex, and I would back in. Here's the thing. Like, first of all, email us, podcastextracurricular@gmail.com. Send us a DM, extracurricular_podcast on Instagram if you're a backer inner. Here's the thing. It is extra work at the top. No doubt. But when you get to just like hit drive, when you're done and you're just straight out of there, oh my God, the incredible feeling that is. Just the freedom that comes from not having to look in your rearview mirror, your backup camera. You're just like, I'm done with this place and I am out of here, is so satisfying. And I did not know you. I have encouraged you, not unlike the spicy chili crisp or sriracha, to like try and back in a few times. You have resisted, and I've let off. But I've been able to tell you're not a big fan of backing in. So I don't know. Do you think this is something I need to change about myself?
I'm not saying change about yourself. I guess if you're in a parking lot and like no one is behind you, then okay, it's one thing, you're just there. But I mean, and so this really isn't about you. I'm just broadening this out to humanity generally. Okay. When you're like when there's like a line of people trying to get in somewhere and someone wants to back in, I'm like, why? It's another backer inner. Why did they do this?
Okay,
just park like a normal person.
When you've seen me back into spaces, what has gone through your mind?
I don't really understand it. I mean, I just truly don't. I don't know. It just seems like just get in the spot and get out of the car. Like, I don't know. I'm going to say stay true to yourself. If you feel like you need, and I appreciate delayed gratification. So that's what you're doing the work on the front end. So that when you get out there, you're like, you're ready to go. And I know that about you. So like, I get that.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe it's just me. Do people like backer inners? Let us know.
Let us know. Message us or tell us in person. Okay. Let's do a bud.
Okay.
I've talked a few times about doing improv shows at the Commodore, and how much fun that is. And, I used to do a lot back when I lived in Los Angeles. And so my bud in 2026 is to make more art and to, do some more shows. I'm doing a show in January that is a fundraiser for a food bank, in part. But I just like, I talked, I think last week or maybe it was 2 weeks ago, about how our new union contract has us down to a 36-hour work week, which I'm very excited. That's another rose, but we can only have so many roses. But shouts to the M&R union who fought for us and helped us make those gains. But I just want to take that time to make some more art. I've been learning how to play piano. I'm stretching learning because I've been learning for a while, but I've fallen off my practice habit a little bit. But I really enjoy that. I enjoy improv, and I think in these dark times, making art is so important. And not that I am some great artist, but to the extent that I can express myself through comedy or through music, it is incredibly gratifying. And I'm always so inspired. Like I don't know if other people have this experience. Like I'm usually, confession, this is not a confession I've written down, but when, you and I, like we spend as much time together as we can. We don't get to spend necessarily every day with each other. And there are days that we don't get to spend to each other. And I'm like more down in the dumps or in the blues. But I will like listen to a song that I love and like a real banger, real jam that gets me going. And I'm like, hell yeah, this is what I'm alive for. Like this song, like this track, these guitars, these drums, these lyrics, like this is everything in this moment. Again, you are not there in that moment, so you are my everything, but when you're not there, but I love that that's what art can do for us, and expand our mind and articulate things that we can't articulate necessarily with just our everyday prose. So I just want to do more of it. And so that's my 2026 bed.
I love this. I love this so much for you. I am excited for you to perform more. I'm excited for you to possibly teach classes and just have time to create. It's also so fascinating to watch, like just to be a partner to a creative person, because I am not that person.
Well, you are creative. We've had this argument.
But it's not like, but not in this way. I don't really understand art, but like, I don't, I just don't, and so like to.
Well, I just want to pause for a second. You do understand it more than you give yourself credit for. And I think I do. I feel like I've heard this from a number. I mean, I've heard from you, like people who are not like quote unquote artists who feel like they don't understand. But I think you actually do and understand a lot. And like we watch TV shows and movies and listen to music, and you're very thoughtful in your critique and what you take from it. So I just don't want to take a moment to let pass where saying you don't understand it, or I think you do. So
okay, I appreciate that. And I'm a huge proponent of the arts because I think they're extremely important. I mean, I'm always looking for ways that help people feel alive. And I know that so maybe that's just a way to say it is like, I understand, and to see it through your eyes that this makes you feel alive, and that what that can help for like our students or just other people. So I get that. I would say, just as a contrast, like for me, what when you think about playing piano or creating art or doing shows, and that's kind of or listening to a song, what makes you feel, I would say, like alive and gives you, that's how I feel about I feel like physicality. So for me, it's like, like running, or like I'll do yoga or like lift weights, like that, like makes me feel alive, just kind of being physical in that way. So I get it, like from, doing something different, but I'm so excited for this for you, because I know it's been sort of like a transition here, and I'm excited for you to have this extra time, and you're so talented. And so I can't wait to see what you do in the new year. I'm very excited for this.
You're so sweet. I appreciate that. I'm excited too. So maybe more shows for us in the future.
Yeah. I love it.
Okay. That was my bug. What else do you have?
Okay. So I'll say, so I'll just do like a quick, what's the word? I feel like that's been my thing lately. What's the word? Oh my gosh. When they're like, you go quick back and forth.
Oh, like
you take this out.
No, yeah.
Rapid fire.
Rapid fire.
I hate to use that word, but okay, so I'll just do like a quick back and forth. Some of the thorns that I'll just say I was thinking about on my list. One was AI. Like, it's a thorn, meaning like I literally feel it like it's a thorn in my side. Like it's not going away, and like we've got to like figure out how to make how to deal with that. Another thorn I feel like is when I try to stop drinking coffee, because I like really do want to cut down for my stomach purposes, but like, oh man, it's hard to not drink coffee.
Coffee's great.
It's so great. What else did I have on here? And then I'll say, for a bud, I'm very excited for my girls. I feel like all my girls are just doing like really exciting things this year. And like different things, like sports, just like kind of where they are in their life, music. So I'm just it's just an exciting year for all my girls. So I'm looking forward to that.
Wait, can I pause for a second?
Yeah.
Do you would you include your daughter, one of your daughters bringing home a mouse is one of your...
Oh, well, I mean, it was exciting for her. She walked and she said, I know I'm not keeping the mouse in this house. And she was correct. She was sad to see the mouse go, because she is truly my animal lover. She is the kindest. Like when it comes to animals, she is just so loving. And I don't know, I hope in her future she works with animals, because she just has a gift. I remember she used to like talk to the ducks and the swans when she was little, and I feel like they would come right up to her. She just has a way with animals. And so, but I really don't want a mouse in my house.
No,
I'm gonna be honest.
I know that is very understandable. I did. Yeah. Oh, I was gonna say I did pet the mouse, and it was very cute. But the mouse
did have a tail. I don't really like tails.
No, not your thing, except like it's a dog tail. Well,
I don't know. A huge shout out also to Aiden for taking the mouse and providing the mouse a good home. Hopefully your mother said yes.
You're taking some hits on this podcast in terms of your animal loving.
No, I like truly, there's a part, I'll just be honest, there's a part of me that of course like wants to get a dog, for sure. Obviously. So I'm,
and I want to call myself out. It's unfair for the man to be like, oh, the woman, no fun woman won't let me have a good time. She's always dragging me down. That's not the case. This is we're having a fun back and forth. If you act like another confession, like if you actually like made me decide whether I want to get a dog tomorrow, like the answer is probably no. But in any case, we got to do a podcast. All right. What else? What's your last one?
So for one of my buds, I will say that I am so excited for the School of Arts and Entertainment.
Oh, wait, what is this?
So this is a school that we are working with in OCPS. I think it is going to be, it's school is kind of focusing on like audio, cinematography, videography, and really incorporating really what you were talking about earlier, like the skills that you learned in high school that you now do in your career, kind of having a school that's really focused on that. And especially in Orlando with like Universal and Disney, and just like great employers here. I'm very excited about this school. And I love it because it is truly 100% public school. We're seeking some funds from different groups and different entities. But they've done a lot of research on this. The district has. I've seen kind of the prototype, and I'm so excited for this. So really excited to see that kind of come to fruition in the next year.
Were you going to transition to making an ask of me for a donation?
You know I don't like to do that, so no.
Okay, well, I don't have a lot of money to give, so unfortunately.
But I will say, if you do want to be part of a really cool project, first in its nation of this kind,
oh, wow.
of what we're really doing, if you are interested in investing in this project, please reach out to me. I can give you more information, and I think it is truly a really cool project, and it'll be great, not just for students, also for the community that it's in. It'll be adjacent to downtown. I'm very excited about it.
Well, I will give you money if they do not train kids on creating AI, generative AI. Okay. Let me kind of
roll through some of yours.
Well, I won't roll through. I got kind of two more I want to do. I want to do a real thorn. Okay. And then also a confession. How many more do you have? Or have you rolled through everything?
I could do another right. Like quick confession or two.
Okay. Let me do a real thorn. I'm going to get real for a second. Is that all right? We're transitioning back and forth. We're professionals. This is what we do.
Okay.
Trumpism has been a scourge on American life for a decade, and we have seen in 2025 how terrible it is. But I am all of that is in and of itself a thorn, and we actually kind of touched on some of the stuff in the beginning of this episode. But I am really I am even more disturbed by the even harder right Christian nationalist turn that it seems like the Republican Party, or at least large factions of the Republican Party, want to make post-Trump. So as we're recording this on Sunday, JD Vance was at an event, and literally a couple of his quotes were, in the United States of America, you don't have to apologize for being white anymore. And by the grace of God, we will always be a Christian nation. This is also this year we've had the Coast Guard making swastikas and nooses no longer no longer hate speech. I'm conflating the next thing I'm going to say. We have a Trump nominee who said he had a Nazi streak. We have these leaked text messages from the young, in quotation mark, GOP that include so many racist and anti-Semitic text messages. Nick Fuentes appearing on Tucker Carlson. Just this past weekend, there was this Gen Z focus group, Republicans, a lot of them showing either praise or they're okay with Hitler. And in my personal life, I was on Instagram. My favorite hockey team, the Tampa Bay Lightning, posted this Happy Hanukkah graphic, which was really nice to see. But the comment section were filled with Nick Fuentes gifs, or this is a Christian nation, or someone had posted with emojis making a swastika, which I reported to Meta/Instagram, and what I got back was, this does not contain any hate speech or symbols. So all to say, this is disturbing doesn't quite cover it, but they the worst of these, what used to be fringe elements, the dregs of the internet, for folks who know Stormfront, which is this white nationalist website, these people are in power and want even more power over this party. And it makes me incredibly fearful. And we have to just call this stuff out, and we have to fight like hell, to not to keep this stuff at bay as much as possible. But I it is incredibly disturbing. And, I think seeing that quote of Proverbs from the State Board of Education might not be anywhere near the severity of what the things I just mentioned, but it exists on that spectrum of like, we are from the state and we are dictating that this is a Christian state. These are Christian schools. This is a Christian nation, et cetera, et cetera. So that is like you could not have a year of more thorns to pick from, but that's the one I wanted to talk about.
I think there are, I mean, it is scary. I think there are a lot of scary pieces in that. I think that the sort of Christian nationalist movement, and I don't remember the first quote that you mentioned from J.D. Vance. I mean, and I just want to be on record. Like, I don't think that white people need to apologize for anything, for existing, you know, I mean, I definitely don't support that.
But it's not about like white people need to apologize for being white. Like, no, of course not. But the sentiment of that statement is like, whites need to retake their dominance of this country. I mean, I think that is the clear subtext.
Right. And I mean, I think that is some scary stuff. I also I've been out in our community, and I think I shared a picture with you, just like running and seeing swastika, like painted on the sidewalk. So I think it's kind of that confluence of just like this Nazi anti-Semitism, white Christian nationalist movement,
anti-immigrant, xenophobic.
Right, exactly. I think it's like it's disgusting, and it seems like it's taking root among more people, and I don't get it.
Well, I think I want to do, I think we've talked about, like, I want to do a larger episode on social media and the internet and like how this has like certainly exacerbated these sorts of things. But I mean, I think that's a huge part of it, is the internet and social media just like help these things spread like wildfire, and so gross.
Yeah, it's interesting too, because I think a lot of my most religious friends are the ones who are honestly most offended by these statements, because I think they're just so hypocritical, and not the way that that Christians, believe Christ to have been, like that is just so hypocritical and not actually in line with Christianity. And, I've said this before, Christianity is not Christian nationalism.
Right.
They are completely different things.
Yeah.
So it's just disturbing.
Okay. Thank you, audience, for going on that journey with us. Let's wrap it up with like, maybe you got one more, I got one more, and we'll close this puppy out. Oh, puppy. Interesting choice of words. Okay, I'll go with a little confession, and I mean this with like truly all the like love and appreciation. You gave me some new speakers. Okay, wait. Like, well, right? Isn't there like a speaker bar under the TV now? Oh, the sound bar. Okay, so you can see how much I know about this. It is so nice. Okay. Oh my God. But I honestly don't. I can't tell a difference. I might just have bad ears though. I don't know. Can you tell a difference? Do I just have bad ears? I don't know. This is heartbreaking. But thank you. And I really appreciate it, because it looks very professional. Oh my God. As soon as this podcast is over, we're going into some settings in your TV, and we're going to get this dialed in. I think this is maybe the most hurtful thing anyone has ever said to me. I appreciate it. Oh no, I'm messing with you, of course. I mean, I think you're wrong. I think it does sound different. Okay. I think like every now and again you can refute someone's lived experience, and I'd like to refute your lived experience and just say that it does sound better. And you're just like, I have bad ears. No, I'm not. I might, because I have my AirPods in when I'm running. So, I might actually have bad ears. No, I don't believe that. I think like something is wrong in the settings. We're going to figure this out. Thank you for the speakers. It was incredibly generous and nice of you. So thank you. Thank you. To my audiophiles out there, I am on this. We're going to get this figured out. We probably should have talked about this at the beginning of the podcast. This is probably the most important thing that you've said in the past hour. Okay, here's my final confession. You are just the most like gracious, kind, like heartfelt person, and so like always just an immense amount of generosity and patience. However, oh no, sometimes in the car. You are a good driver. I just want to say for the record, you are a good driver. But like I think when other people are maybe not driving the way that I think you think they should optimally drive, I think you maybe don't display that incredible amount of patience and grace that that I know you for. And maybe at moments I've been a little scared.
Well, I just don't understand why people like don't do what they're supposed to do when they're driving. Like if they would just drive the normal, efficient way, we would all be better off. But whatever. I guess I can't control people in their cars.
But all in all, I love our relationship. All right, where do you think our relationship is at after doing these confessions?
Oh, always better. It's like you gotta know, don't you? I don't want you to be sitting there at night at dinner, and be like, oh, why is she scraping on the bowl with the frickin' fork? Like, can't you just put it in a normal bowl? It's a small price to pay, so I think it's better.
And I'm gonna work on the sound bar. Notice I did not mention anything about not packing in anymore, but I'm going to figure out the sound.
And I'm going to drive how I drive.
You will drive how you drive. Yeah. I love that we both had 2 car things and we're both like, yep, not going to change either of those. Well, I have loved doing this podcast with you in 2025 and I cannot wait to keep doing it in 2026 and beyond. So, we'll be podcasting from the nursing home perhaps.
To infinity and beyond?
To infinity and beyond. Hopefully we don't have to pay for that. Hopefully someone's not going to make a copyright claim on that.
Okay, wait, I can redact, but yeah. No, we're good. I'm excited. This has been fun. This has been so, I've learned so much, met some of the great people. There were so many great episodes. I hated picking just one, but looking forward to it in the new year. And we're looking forward to doing it with you.
Have a great holiday if you're listening to this before the holidays. I guess we were in the middle of the holidays. So have a great holiday. Have a happy new year. And we'll talk to you in January. Bye.
Bye.